Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today let's talk about the Pmdg Boeing 737 MAX. A lot of you have waited for that one eagerly, and iFly have recently released theirs for Flight Simulator 2024, which is a good load of fun, but many of you said that they are going to wait for the Pmdg 737 MAX. Some had already given up hope, while others thought that, well, it's just going to take ages. But then something very interesting dropped last night. For the matter of a couple hours, a link to a Pmdg 737 MAX 8 product page went online on the Pmdg website. Now, I can't really show you the link because everything that you are going to see nowadays is just this, error 404, page not found. However, let's take this as an opportunity to take a few moments to review what Pmdg has already said about their Boeing 737 MAX and why this may mean that we could potentially be very, very close to a possible release. So, back in the days of the Pmdg 737NG release for Microsoft Flight Simulator, when I had just founded my YouTube channel, I was brand new, creating a couple of very basic videos for you guys. Pmdg hopped on a couple of streamers' streams, and they also made a couple of forum posts where they said that yes, they are building a 737 MAX and it will eventually release. And I still remember on one of my own live streams, that was the one where I featured the 737-900 for the first time, Rob actually said on the stream that they will release a 737 MAX, but they are going to do it without much ado leading up to the release. He basically said that it's going to come at some point around the 777s and that the aircraft would just pop up in the store from one day to the other. And then we'd have a Pmdg 737 MAX. We can only speculate about the reasons why he wants to follow this particular marketing strategy, but it wouldn't be the first time that something like this happens. After all, this is exactly what Flight Sim Labs have just done yesterday with their Airbus A321neo. Now, in the past, when Pmdg brought product pages online, it usually took them between a week or two until the product actually released. Of course, we can't say whether this may be an indicator of what could potentially happen with the 737 MAX release, but it's just looking in the company's history and how things have usually progressed back then. On the other hand side, we could reasonably assume that this may have been a little bit earlier in the process, because while the product page came online, it immediately disappeared again. So it might just have been an accident that they just created it in the shop, so that could be an indicator that the aircraft is maybe nearing a release date, but not quite there yet within those 1 or 2 weeks that we've seen in the past. In any case, for the time where the product page was actually online, it contained all the information of the 737-800 and not the MAX just yet. But then again, that is what we've seen with past Pmdg releases as well. And eventually they would only change the product page like a day before release, or in some cases even just with the very release itself. So that's all in the realm of what is theoretically possible. But let's take a moment and go back into what Pmdg have stated publicly on their 737 MAX in the past. Basically, when we go back to 2019 and the good old prepared days, that was before the MAX accidents happened in the real world, Pmdg basically said they have their 737 MAX for prepared, almost ready to go. Then the accidents happened, and then Robert posted in public that he does no longer have permission from Boeing to release the aircraft. So if we take that piece of information, Pmdg basically said on the MAX that they were not allowed to release for a longer period in time already. Now, going forward from there, we do know that Pmdg has once been working on some full flight simulator software as well, or with full flight simulator I mean real-world simulators here, not necessarily level D simulators. But we do know that they've been working on some of that software in the past, so perhaps there's some relationship over there that they might have used that 737 MAX code in the meantime. I mean, we can always speculate and just say that Pmdg software is so good, I'm sure Boeing has just bought it and is now running their own simulators with it, right? I mean, that's just how good Pmdg is, isn't it? Okay, no, let's turn off the marketing mode over here. That was, of course, just speculating and joking. But we can say that they've probably been sitting on a Max for a long time and that they have probably used some of the time they had while waiting for certain things to happen in the 777 development realm to just bring that stuff up again and convert it into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, this might also come with a new model, as they have hinted that they wanted to do a new model for the NG in the past, so perhaps they've done that already, but we have no indication of knowing for sure for their 737 MAX. It might as well just come as an intermediate release, just including a model similar to their 737 NG, which, to be frankly honest, I would be absolutely happy with, personally. But that is all speculation at this point in time. So the big question now is, when is it going to come, how much is it going to cost, and is it going to be worth it? The latter question is very easy to answer. Yes, I'm very, very sure that it will be worth it, because it's a Pmdg aircraft. They've all been worth it for the time being. Now, the 737 MAX is an airplane that is very similar to the 737 NG, but when I did my very first couple of flights in the real 737 MAX, I was a little bit surprised by how different some things were in that aircraft. For example, when I took off for the very first time, I ended up in a little bit of pilot-induced oscillations because the aileron is a little bit more effective in the MAX than it is in the NG, which is something that was previously undocumented. It wasn't anything severe or so, and by going back to basic piloting technique, aka don't just rape your yoke, but just let go, hold it steady for a moment, then do a small and deliberate input, get everything back. The plane is very easy and very similar to fly to the 737 NGs. But there are some certain things which I'd be very interested in seeing how Pmdg would approach them, and I guess now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing if anything is going to happen. Now, a very last thought over here, or a very last line of thought over here, they may as well just been trolling. Remember, iFly has just released their 737 MAX for Microsoft Flight Simulator not so long ago. Then FS Labs has just released their A321neo not so long ago, and given the relationship between Pmdg and FS Labs, which may or may not be very good, I could very well imagine that they just brought up a little troll, brought that product page up intentionally, and then just, took it offline again because they knew it would spark exactly the controversy that's going on the internet in the relationship of that product page becoming available for a short time in the last night. So who knows what exactly the background is. We do know that they have been up for these kind of jokes in the past, but for now it's going to be up to you guys to speculate. As the last word over here, yes, you guys know that I'm a Pmdg 737 tech team member, which means I provide technical advice to them on that particular aircraft type, and that I beta test their products as well, most recently the Boeing 777. So don't just think anything into those points. If I had any information on a possible Pmdg MAX release, I would be under strict NDA and couldn't tell you at all. So either way, the content of this video is either made out of actually not knowing anything, or it is made out of, well, that's what this guy is making up from the information that's publicly available. I'm under NDA, I can't tell you about that. But for now, it's up to you to tell me what you think about that Pmdg 737 MAX product page leak that we had last night. Leave it in the comments below. I'm very much interested in hearing your opinions. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again. on the next one. Oh, and the typical YouTube stuff, yeah, like, comment and subscribe, you know that.